Greetings, people of intellect. This is our book review of Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. So this is, I think, a fun little book that gets a really important point across. As you mentioned, it was like a kid story, but for adults.
Like, yeah, and like you think it's a kid story, but then once you think about it real hard, you realize that it's talking about something that could happen in real life.
Now, why would adults want cheese?
They don't want cheese. They want valuable stuff. The cheese, like the cheese, is like money or whatever you want. You want
money,
a PS4?
success,
yeah, that's your cheese.
I guess that's his cheese.
Come on, my cheese is a Wii U. Super Smash Bros. in it.
Okay, happiness or spirituality or whatever the case may be. We all have different cheeses, or what we represent as cheese. So there's 4 characters in the story. Who are the 4 characters?
First character is
Scurry.
Scurry.
No, Sniff.
Oh, Sniff, Scurry, and then Hem, and Haw.
Okay.
Got it right
the
there.
Characteristics of these 4 characters, as I understand them, is Sniff is the analytical type. He assesses the direction of where they need to go. Scurry is the one that charges ahead and moves forward, is the action taker, whereas Sniff is the analytics. Ha is the individual through which you come to terms and learn the lesson in the book of not feeling entitled to success, but actually going out there and trying to go through your own maze and find your own cheese. Hem, the most stubborn of them all, feels like he is entitled to his success and that it should be returned to him, and doesn't want to do anything. He wants to stay there until it comes back to the way it used to be, and therefore he's the one that loses out the most. So what did you take away from this book? Like, what did you feel like the big lesson was?
Overall, the big lesson that I felt like is that don't just sit around and do nothing if you want cheese.
Okay, what should you do?
The cheese that I'm talking about, your value.
Right.
The valuable stuff.
What should you do?
You should find your own cheese. Like in the story, they were in a maze, and all the 4 of them were living in a maze, and then they all took cheese from one source.
Right.
And then, but the 2 mice, Sniff and Scurry, they both realized that the cheese was almost gone. So the next day, when they were gone, they weren't surprised because they knew they kept track of the cheese.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And then they just ran off to find some new cheese.
That's actually the first of my 3 takeaways from this book. The first being assess your assets. Make sure you are in line with global atmosphere, the marketplace, that everything is in line with the changes of the world. For example, a good example of that is when Netflix came out and Blockbuster felt like they were large in charge and didn't want to change their ways and thought what they had was conducive to the changes was very wrong, and they went out of business, and Netflix now is
the better one.
Yeah, definitely booming. The second change, or the second lesson from this book that I've taken away is that sometimes success leads to arrogance, and you don't want that to happen. You don't want to be in a state of mind where you feel like you're going to constantly have this success. Therefore, you should diversify. You should cover your butt. Make sure you have different line of streams of income. For example, several years back, I still remember this because it was so vividly ingrained in my mind. There was a gentleman in the news, an executive of some sort, who made $750,000 a year, but he didn't pay off his mortgage. He didn't pay off his bills. And when his wherever he worked cut him off, he was a pizza delivery guy. He was delivering pizza. That was sad. And the third thing I would take away is to visualize what you want out of life versus what you've lost. And that's something that I'm actually growing into, is that sort of direction, letting go of what I've lost and focusing more of where I am going.